Hey everyone, I'm Odette Maimoni, and today I'm going to show you how to create a flow that will send an email with CSV attached to each of the managers with their relevant data of their employees. Let's start.
Odette Maimoni.
Hello guys, today I'm going to show you how to create automate that will send to each manager their employees' data. It means that we are going to create a flow that will loop for each manager in our manager table and will send to each manager their specific relevant data for them. How are we going to create it? We're going to create it in Power Automate, which means you have to go to this site, make.powerapps.com. This is the site that you have to go in which to get to Power Automate. You can also go directly to make.powerautomate.com, but first of all, we're going to use Dataverse as our database for this automate. So we need to go to the Power Apps area. You obviously can use whatever connection that you want, if you're using SQL server or if you're using Excel or any base that you are using. In my case, I created tables here in Dataverse. My tables, I have two tables. I have managers tables. Currently, I have only me as a manager for this example. Of course, in your table, it should be list of all of the managers with the ID and the email. So we can use it to send the manager the data. Of course, if you need any other data of the manager, the first name, the last name, or any data that you think that you will need in this automate, you should put it here. So this is the first table. The second table is the employee data. In my case, I'm going to send to each manager their employee list. In your case, if you need to send the manager their employees' sales or any other data that you're using, you need to use this table. But remember that you need to each row to add the manager ID, so you will know which of the data is relevant to each manager. So this is it. This is in my case. I have here the list of the employees, and you can see I have also manager ID. Right now, I just want to see my data. This is the manager ID 1. But if I clear the filter, you can see I have more than one manager here. What is the Power Automate going to do is to send for me only the employees that their manager ID is 1. But remember, you need to add the column of the manager ID, so we will know how to connect it in the flow. So this is it in the data side. Right now, we're going to the flows, and we're going to create a new flow for this example. This new flow, I'm going to create it from an instant, but you can schedule Cloudflow. You can do all of the setting here. You can see this list of triggers that you can use. You can even integrate it into a Power Apps application. In my case, I'm going to choose it manually because this is just an example. Remember that you can even change the trigger after you creating it, so you can start working with manually trigger and then change it to whatever you need. Give it a name and then create it. This is it. This is how Power Automate look. It's going to create steps of the action that we are going to put here. This right now only have the trigger. This is the trigger, and one by one, we create the action that is it going to do. So let's start. If you love my content, this is the time for you to subscribe my channel. Thank you. Okay, first of all, I need to bring to here the manager's data. So I can create a loop that will go over each manager and check his employees. So first of all, I need to get the data from Dataverse and get a list of the managers, and I want it to be here. So I'm going to click on New Step. Here I have all of the connector that you can think about. I need the Microsoft Dataverse. From here, I will look for a list. And this is the action that I need. I need list rows, which means I can bring the rows that I need from a table. I need to choose the table name, so I will look for manager. Right now, I can put here the columns that I need from this table. You can leave it blank and it will pull all of the columns. But if you think efficient, you only choose the columns that you need in this flow. So if I look here, this is the table that I created, and I need to get the column from this table. In this flow, you cannot write the name in the label because behind this column, there is a logical name. And the logical name, this is the one that we need to put there. So if I go click the edit column, I can see here the logical name of each column. So I can copy that and paste it here. So this is the way we bring the columns here, the logical names. And with comma, we can type all of the columns that we need. So I'm going to bring the manager email and also the manager ID. Also, we can filter the data. Right now, I don't need any filter, but if you need to filter the specific rows that you need, don't hesitate to use this filter because we think efficient. We don't need all of the data. We need only the exact data that we are going to use in this flow. Also, I can sort the data that's going to comes from this action. I can also bring only the number of rows that I'm going to put here. The way I work with Power Automate is for each action that I'm putting here, I'm testing it because I want to see that I'm working good in each step, and then after moving forward. Yeah, so this is the way I work. Each step, I'm saving it and testing it. This is the way I think is best because I want to go safe. I want to see, okay, this action is work. It doesn't return any error, and I can see the data that comes from this action, and it works well. So it means I can move forward to the next step. So I click on test, and then I click test, and right now it ran successfully. I can see these little checks, these green checks. That means that it works fine. And to see the output that come from this action, I'm going to click on here. It's going to open this JSON of data, and you can see this data. It means it successfully takes the data from the table that I created. So this is great. It means it works, and we can move forward to the next step. Our next step going to be a loop. And how we creating a loop in Power Automate? There's an action called apply to each. And this is the one we're going to use here. This is the loop action. It means that we're going to put here the group of the list of the values that we want to loop in. And each of the actions we're going to put inside this container is going to happen inside the loop. It means it will run, in our case, for each manager, and will do the action inside this container. So I'm going to put here the values of that returns from this previous step. It means this one. In Power Automate, we can click on the text box here, and we can see the dynamic content. What is the dynamic content here? We can bring the data that comes from the previous steps, which means we can use the data that comes from these list rows and also from the trigger that we are using. Right now, you can see the data that comes from list rows is here, and I can choose it also from the trigger. If you want to work clearly and organized, you should rename each action so you will know what data come from this output, what this action is doing. So you can click on these three dots and then rename the action. So you can give it a name, list rows of managers. Okay, so when I'm going to click here in this step, I'm going to see the data, and I will understand that this is the data that comes from list rows of managers. Okay, so this is the correct way to use Power Automate. And we're going to loop of each of the data that comes from this. See, this is the one that we're going to choose, list of items, value. This is great. So right now, each of the action that I will click here inside the apply to each action is going to happen inside the loop. I'm going to click on add an action, and right now I'm going to bring the employees data. So I'm going to use again the Dataverse and again the list action. From here, I'm going to choose employees. This is the table employee. Okay, from here, I'm going also to choose only the relevant columns that I need. It means the relevant column that will be sent to the manager. So this is the list of columns that comes from the employee tables, the logical name, right? That I showed you, the logical name of each columns. Here, I'm going to use the filter rows because right now, this is the trick. If I want each manager will get his relevant data, I need to filter each employee to be the manager ID that comes from the loop. So, which means I'm going to use this column that comes from the employee, and I'm going to say equal. This is the way we're filtering data here in Power Automate. We're going to use this syntax, equal, and then I need the data from the loop, the manager ID that comes from the loop that we are currently in. So I'm going to give the manager ID that comes from this one. So this is the way, this is the whole trick is works, because we are using the employee data, but we filter in only the relevant manager. So, which means each manager that comes here will go into loop here, and for each manager, it will filter only their relevant data that returns from here. So this is the way we're going to use this action. Let's test it. Okay, let's test this one, and what I'm expecting to see that this list of rows return only my employees, the one that manager ID is equal 1. Let's see. You can see apply to each only works one time because, as you know, our manager table is only have one row with my manager ID. So this is fine. If it will be more than one row, it will look for each manager that returns from this action. So let's see what returned from this step. You can see already this is correct because manager the filter know to take for this manager ID equal 1 that returned from our manager table. But let's see the output. If I'm clicking on here, you can see there is a long JSON with all of the data because there is a lot of data in my employee table. But if I will look for the manager ID and then equal 1, you can see this data. I want to see if there are any other manager ID. I saw there is one with a 0 ID. So let's see if it bring this one. No, it only brings the manager ID equal 1. So this is the way, the way it works. And this is fine for us because to send the manager email only with his data. Right, so let's move to the next steps. Okay, so the next step is going to be also inside the loop because I want to take this data and create it as a CSV table. So to do that, I need the create CSV action. This is the action. This action take a list of data and create it as a CSV so we can use it afterwards in the email that we are going to send. So it's going to create CSV from this step. So let's give it a correct name. List rows of employees. And we want to create CSV from this data. So this is the correct area that we are going to look forward. And also here, I'm going to use value list of items. And if we want to give a different name for each column, because we don't like this naming, the automate naming that Dataverse gave to each column, we want to give it a more meaningful name so the customer, our stakeholders will understand what each columns mean. We can do it here. We can click on this option and we can change it from automatic to custom. So we can give header to each column, and then value, we're going to take it from here. So if I want to change the address column, I'm going to put it here and then use this header, write whatever I want. So this is, we can do it more clean and proper, meaningful name. So I'm going to use the automatic for this example. And then after this CSV table, this is it. I'm going to send the email to the manager. So I'm going to create another action inside the loop to send the email. In my example, I'm going to use the connector of Outlook, but you can use your connector, the one that you're using inside your organization. So you have multiple options to send email, but this is the same actions, the same setting and configuration will be for all of the actions. So you can use it the same as I do here. Who I'm going to send it? We're going to use the dynamic content because I'm going to send it to the manager that we are looping in. So manager email, this is the one that comes from the list rows of manager. The subject, give it a subject, employee data. We need to give also body, which means what will be the content of this email. So we can say attach is the employee data. Okay, how can I use the attachment? So we click on show advanced options and we can see there is more option here. We can also send it as another email. We can CC people, we can BCC people, but we need this area. Attachment name, which will be the name of the file that will be attached to this email. So give it a name, employee data. Don't forget .csv because we want it to be file with CSV, so they can open it with CSV. Okay, so don't forget to use this. The attachment content will be the output that returns from the create CSV table. So this is it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try this flow. Let's test it. Okay, it finished. And you can see it sent me this email. You can see this title, also the body is correct. And we can see the data of my employees. So this is it. This is the way we can create this flow. This, you see, very few steps. You can create this flow that can send email with CSV files to your customers. We cannot use it in Power BI subscriptions because Power BI subscription don't send Excel or CSV files. So this is the limit of the subscriptions of Power BI. So this is a very useful solution to do this. You can create here also more than one step. We can say that for each action, for each manager, it will be doing more steps than just sending an email. It can also send the data in Teams or in any other connector that is exists in Power Apps. So this is the way we can create it here in Power Automate. This is it. If you like it or have any questions, just ask me in the comment and I will answer you. Thank you. See you in my next video.